welcome everybody to CAHOTECH 2022. I hope you're enjoying yourself. And we have some outstanding speakers today. We have the first panel, which is going to be a series of talks. So for those who don't know me, I'm the Vice President of CAHO and also the Vice Chairman of Dr. Mehta's Hospitals. It's a privilege to hear a lot of the stories here and to understand what can make our healthcare life better tomorrow than it was yesterday. And I think technology is definitely one of the fundamental enablers. And if we can learn from a combination of our peers, our suppliers, and our customers, then life gets better. Today in India, we're also learning a lot from our government, because the project that they've taken on to kind of digitize the 1.3 billion people, which they've successfully done in payments, which they've successfully done in a number of other spaces, has really enabled a fundamental change. And I think we're about to see that in India. So the next 45 minutes, we're going to hear a lot about frugal innovation and how technology plays a key role in frugal innovation. I mean, you all survived COVID. Unlike most of the world, which had pretty limited populations, with the exception of China, which was highly opaque, India had this huge problem that kind of like landed on the government and the private providers, multiple of them across the country's doorsteps, on how do you solve for 1.3 billion people. No playbook in the world solves for that, because most of the developments globally have been done for fine-tuning very small populations or very specific populations with specific ailments, whereas we are a conglomerate of a number of different state health systems that are cobbled together with some central leadership. And I think that's the beauty of India, that we got to see sometimes the great things that happened in state A that were replicated in state B, and sometimes things that struggled in state A that got also replicated in state B, but with a learning curve that was there. And I think if we can figure out how to do this really well, we'll be the playbook, like we're already doing in many spaces, for the rest of the world. Already the payments platform, already the Aadhaar identification platform and the stack under it are in high demand from the rest of the world to understand. And I think that's the opportunity for all of us in healthcare. And I think there are no better speakers than the three that we have lined up for you. With that, let's move to the last speaker of the panel, Siddharth Shah. He's the founder of PharmaEasy. This is a company that I think is the MD and CEO of also API Holdings, the holding company. But what is very interesting is he was in the news quite recently for the acquisition by a unicorn of a listed, well-entrenched company, ThyroCare, which had really been a darling in many of the eyes of both investors, retail investors, as well as many of the customers that benefited from the world of their diagnostics, especially around thyroid and hormones. So I think would love to hear your views, Siddharth, on how you see perhaps how we serve 1.3 billion people, especially through technology and in the pharmaceutical thing. Graduate of Ahmedabad, and what is really impressive is you're also managed to do this at such a young age, the 40 under 40. I was thinking it was the most eligible bachelors, but that'll only get us all into trouble. So, but one of the rock stars and business minds of our era. So Siddharth, the floor is yours. It's great to have you on. I think API Holdings, PharmaEasy, ThyroCare, all are now becoming more household names. We'd love to hear how you have a perspective on basically providing frugal innovation to the 1.3 billion people of India and perhaps even beyond.
No, thank you so much. First of all, I think it's absolutely deep honor and privilege to be part of this forum where you have reputed people like Dr. Devi Shetty, who, people like me have grown up all their lives and getting inspired from. So I think, you have somebody who's literally been the pioneer of giving world-class healthcare at extremely affordable cost. I think our effort is taking forward what people like Dr. Shetty have done, and as pioneers in the field of tertiary healthcare and quaternary healthcare, and perhaps bring that to primary healthcare. As API Holdings, our focus is extremely simple, which is to provide everything that you need in outpatient healthcare, which is be it information, be it consultations, be it diagnostics, or be it treatment, which is medicines and devices, to have all of these available to you in a simple integrated platform. I heard Dr. Shetty speak about, the role of medical records and how it provides legitimacy around, if something happens to the patient, you have timestamps and so on and so forth. And I think we are extremely proud of the fact that today we run one of the largest e-medical record systems in the country. And over 15 million patients actually use our platform to store their medical records absolutely free of cost, right? The second piece around the consultations, we do roughly in the range of 750,000 teleconsultations every single month. Perhaps one of the very high numbers where we have patients from across the country come on our platforms and do these consultations. Especially now after the acquisition of ThyroCare, we do more diagnostic tests than anybody else in India, right? We do more diagnostic tests than any other lab in the country. And at least from the last couple of quarters, I'm made to believe that we buy more medicines again than anybody else in the country. Now, it may appear that, a young digital platform like ours is able to achieve this scale. We are able to reach people in every habitable zip code of India. But that is purely because of our approach of putting technology on top of an existing physical infrastructure, right? In cases like hospitals, we have to invest in world-class infrastructure, obviously one which is very customized to Indian requirements, and make that affordable to the masses. However, in primary healthcare, we are today in a world where you are able to leverage the existing infrastructure that is already laid out, that is unorganized, that is fragmented, and put technology on top of it to leverage it. As an example, when we deliver medicines to every zip code of India, how do we do it? We have warehouses in 80 locations across the country, but these warehouses are supplying medicines to 180,000 retailers in India, right? So almost 1 in every 5 pharmacy in India is connected to our network. And we then use these pharmacies itself to provide you the last mile connectivity in terms of making medicines available. But the benefit is, in such a model, you get access to all the medicines that you require across the country. You get all medicines which are authentic because we buy directly from pharma companies and therefore we have control over the supply chain. And last but not the least, we can pass on the benefits of procurement at scale and low cost of operations in order to benefit the consumers. I'm just giving you one example of how technology can be utilized in order to provide access to affordable healthcare that is quality conscious and that is taken care of in every measure. In fact, if all of you will allow me, I'll take 60 seconds to give you a demonstration of how we are doing something similar in diagnostics. Again, how the role of technology, right? Sam, I heard you speak about how we were the first unicorn to acquire a listed company. I want to give you an example how the outstanding network of ThyroCare, right, with its labs and more than that 4,000 partners across the country are now leveraged to provide access to last mile digital access, right? So I've just logged in from my phone, and if it's okay with you, I'll just take a moment and do a share screen, right? I'd like to give a demonstration of how you can use technology without having to reinvest the physical infrastructure, but actually bring about significant efficiencies on top of the same infrastructure. I'm actually going to do a live share screen of the application on my phone, and any one of you who has Pharmeasy can actually go ahead and see the same thing, right? So as you can see, I'm just opening the Pharmeasy app right now here in front of you. It shows that you can get medicines. Now this is an example of how you can get a full body health checkup done at a very affordable rate. But let's say I go on to lab test as an example, right? I have just added 3 random tests in my cart, and as you can, right? So I've just added 3 random tests. Okay, one is a full body checkup, one is a diabetes care, one is a thyroid care. I'm going to add a patient's details. So for the sake of argument, I'll add my own self. It's going to ask me where can I do it. So I'm just going to put my own address, right? And this is the beauty. If you see, the time right now is 4:22 p.m. I can actually ensure that a phlebotomist will come over to your doorstep by 5:30 p.m. today, right? Which is in exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes from now. In fact, a little lesser, 1 hour and 8 minutes. And if the phlebotomist doesn't turn up at your doorstep in the timeline that I've already promised you, your entire lab test is free. Or if we don't deliver the reports to you in the timeline that I've promised you, your entire lab test is free. The idea is not to promote pharmacy, but to give you an example of how we have put technology on top of 4,000 plus phlebotomy partners, which are part of the ThyroCare network, where using our technology, we are able to track their effectiveness, their location, their movement, and thereby guarantee you an experience where you can be rest assured that within 60 to 90 minutes, somebody will show up at your doorstep, draw your sample, the sample will reach the lab, and you will get the report in under 10 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours, whatever is promised. And if it doesn't happen within the prescribed timelines, the entire report is free. Now, we are able to do this with a 98.9% accuracy, which means only in 1% of the cases we need to give the refund for the entire test amount. The idea is not to claim our efficiency, but the idea is to show that we already have an outstanding network of on-ground physicians, phlebotomists, pharmacies. What you needed is someone like us to come and put a digital layer on top of this so that the efficiency, the discovery, the service experience grows multifold. And this is a prime example of how technology can be leveraged in today's day and age to create an outstanding experience for the end consumer that makes it affordable, because now your phlebotomist is occupied for more hours in a day, is getting more samples. That brings down your cost. You get more samples, that brings down the cost of testing. And mind you, as you all know, ThyroCare is an NABL approved laboratory and has the single largest automated testing conveyor facility anywhere in India, right? So you get the best of the world, but at an extremely affordable cost. And now please multiply this experience in every zip code of India, right? So this is the power of technology. And I truly believe that the digital India that we keep talking about, right? So all of us have experienced it. Today, you go even to a sabzi wala, you go to your doodh wala, you go to anybody, your rickshaw wala, you can use UPI in order to make a transaction. So the world is moving from cash to check, check to card, will slowly go to digital. India has moved from cash to digital. I think the reason for UPI success or such digital success is they did not recreate an entire infrastructure. They put a digital infrastructure on top of a physical one. And I think that same thing is happening in outpatient healthcare. And we are very proud and privileged to play our part in bringing this affordable healthcare to every Indian.
No, thanks a lot, Siddharth. I think definitely, I mean, when many of us saw what Dr. Velumani had built and somebody coming in to take that over and take it forward, there was a high degree of skepticism, but I think you guys have done remarkably well. And more importantly, I think some of the numbers that you mentioned are staggering. I mean, 750,000 teleconsults. I think even the eSanjeevani guys aren't very far from that. So, I mean, this is remarkable. I think with that, let me sum up. Thank the wonderful panelists on a digital weekend. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to have your wisdom and thoughts shared on our panel.